Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan Butler. I'm the Vice President of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at the Recording Academy. Today, I am joined by the amazing singer-songwriter, Lauren Jauregui. Lauren, how are you doing today?
I'm amazing, thank you.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you for taking the time to have this important conversation about pride and
Of course.
LGBTQIA representation. What does pride mean to you?
Pride to me is just being yourself and unapologetically, and no matter what anybody says or thinks, it's just showing up as your authentic self and allowing that to shine from within.
I love that because a lot of times non-LGBTQ people think that pride is really just about our community. But as a
Mm,
Black queer man, right? As a Black queer man, I love that answer because it's really about us celebrating self-love, self-acceptance, and, being proud
and
about who you
uniqueness.
are. Yes, and how you show up in
Absolutely.
spaces. And so I think that that's really, really important. Who were the major influences on your music?
Well, I have a wide range of influences for sure. I think that's obvious when you listen to my music. But I love singer-songwriters. I love anybody who puts a pen to paper and tells their story. So I'm a huge fan of Alicia Keys. I auditioned with her song "If I Ain't Got You" on X Factor. And her songwriting is always, her storytelling has always been really inspirational to me. I love all the divas. I love Christina Aguilera, Miss Mariah Carey,
Yeah, come through, come
Beyonce.
through.
You
Yeah.
know, I'm very inspired by the
You're
divas
speaking
that
to my gay
are,
little heart. You are speaking
you
to
know
my
what I
gay
mean?
little heart.
My gay little heart loved them as well. So yeah, Amy Winehouse as well.
Oh,
Majorly
oh.
influenced by her style and just her rawness.
Yes, I do. I do. And I love all of those divas that you listed, and I can
Yeah,
remember.
Erica Badu, Lauren Hill, like
Oh, there you go. Oh, you got even
yeah,
deeper. Yes.
just if they say something through their music, I probably listen and feel them.
Love authentic storytellers who
Yeah, I
connect
really
to the
do.
story vocally. And that's, what I think everyone who you listed, right? That not only do they have a beautiful story to tell, but that their vocal is additive to that story, that it wouldn't
Mhm.
be the same story without that unique vocal that they put onto it, that flavor, sometimes whether it's misery or happiness, you can hear it. And
Right. That
yes,
was the reason why I gravitated towards music when I was little, was because
yeah,
I loved the emotive quality of music. The fact that
yeah.
somebody could be singing about exactly what I was feeling, or could make me feel something, feel what they were feeling through their voice, through their vocal performance, or through their words.
Yeah,
I used to
absolutely.
sing my little heart out, like all of Rihanna's songs too. Like I loved Rihanna when I was younger. I like you know, just that
Yeah.
attitude, the energy, the unapologeticness. I love like anybody that embodies themselves and gives us that. I love that. I love
And I
watching
think
authenticity.
as you're coming into your identity as a teenager, right, that these musicians are very important. And whether they are gay or not gay, I think being their authentic selves, right, and knowing that they experience the same emotions, the same sadness, the same happiness, or whatever it is, I think that that's what we really connect to. And it's, it's the
Hmm.
music, it's the person, it's knowing that we're not the only one, because as a teenager, when you're, battling with your identity and really trying to figure out who you are, it's not that you're even trying to hide it, right? It's not like you're trying to be in the closet. It's just that you're still figuring it all out. Like you just haven't lived enough
Yeah.
life to understand. And I think that when you
Yeah.
know that you're not the only one to have experienced these emotions or to have had these thoughts, I think that it's great. And I think that that's what
Yeah. I
music.
think Lady Gaga was a huge part of my
Woo!
coming out
Yes.
process, like in
Yes.
just how open, accepting, and real she was. She's also went to Sacred Heart. I went to Sacred Heart in Miami. She
Yeah.
went to Sacred Heart in New York. So
And
I
we
was
were
always like,
at
oh my god, my
NYU at
Sacred
the
Heart
same time
sister.
together. Yeah, we were
Yeah.
at NYU at the same time together, and that also made me feel, right? So I get that. I get that.
Yeah, it's just unapologetic nature, you know?
I had come out, listen, I won't date myself. I'm much older than you are, but I also think that like coming out is a perpetual thing, and I don't think that straight people understand that. Like
Yeah.
we don't come out just one time. Every new group that you meet, every new friend, every new experience, you have to come out all over again. But I will
Yep.
say that Lady Gaga wasn't part of my origin coming out story, right? But she definitely amplified my pride and made coming out on a regular basis easier for me, right? Like I lead with it now. Like I'm coming into a room and not because I feel like I have to announce it, but because I'm proud to announce it. I'm Ryan, I'm queer, I'm here. Hi, everybody, let's get to it, right? And I feel
I'm queer and I'm here. Exactly.
hey girl, hey.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that I think it's difficult sometimes for heteronormative people to understand that when you grow up indoctrinated with heteronormativity to where that is what we're taught is the baseline truth for all of us. When I think it's so funny how like our community is everyone besides straight people. But
Correct.
like we're not the baseline. I don't understand that. I feel like like
Correct.
I'm really looking for the day where um the spectrum is the baseline and then straight is just a part of the spectrum, you know what I'm saying?
Spectrum,
Of
exactly. That's how I
identity, you know?
oh, and you've had to live as a gay person to even really fully understand with that knowledge that you just spit. So one, thank you for that. And I
I got
wish
you.
at your age, when I was your age, that I had that brilliance and that genius to look at it.
Yeah.
So
This
thank
younger
you.
generation, I feel like this
Are
younger
I'm
generation
listening.
true is even more brave than I was. You know what I'm saying? Like
Correct.
they're just so unapologetically present in the
Yes.
fact that everything exists in spectrum, whether that's gender identity or sexuality or, whatever it is, like the way you present to the world and the way that you choose to identify it's a spectrum. There's so many options and there's so many different ways that we all show up, even within our sexualities. Like just because, you explore one specific thing doesn't necessarily mean that's the only thing for you for the rest of your life, you know? I really feel like souls drive my attraction more than anything, you know? So that's why I don't like to like pigeonhole it. I know I'm queer
One
because it's a range, but I don't like to
1000%.
pigeonhole it.
Exactly. I don't want to just be one thing. And I want, if a beautiful soul comes along that connects to my beautiful soul, then let's be two beautiful souls together. And I don't really think about, right? I tend to go towards souls that are embodied in another man's body, right? But that I'm not
Mm-hmm.
limited to that. I mean, it's about
Right.
how I feel in the moment. But I also some of my best allies and closest friends are women, so I know that that's still a soul connection, right? Like I know that
Mm-hmm.
that you can have a friend that's a soulmate that has nothing to do with that we can keep it platonic or whatever. So yes, that is huge to me. How has your identity influenced your music?
I would say I'm still in the process of exploring my identity through music, I believe. I definitely have, excuse me, I've definitely explored it. Like, I did the song Strangers with Halsey, and I've done my song Piña with Snow the Product, who's also a queer Latina, which I think is iconic personally. But,
Yes, of course.
people will get it later, maybe. But yeah, I think just getting to express myself any way possible is just how I like to explore myself as an artist. So, getting to talk about women and being able to explore that openly through my music, I think is, very much part of my process in identifying myself and like coming to terms with who I was even through music. Sid actually from the internet.
Oh,
Sorry.
love
Yeah, Sid from the internet was actually the first time. Super shout out to Sid because she really helped me in my journey as a musician in like validating and accepting and being comfortable using like the pronouns of women when I was referring to who I was in love with in these songs. You know what I mean? So yeah, huge shout out to her because that was the first time I heard like a feminine voice sing about women, you know? And I was like, wow, this is okay. Like, I can really just be my full gay self in the music too, you know? That's fine. That's fine.
Again, much older than you, definitely, different generations. I'm Generation X, so totally different generations, but still there was an awakening in music that happened that I was so appreciative of, because music gets us through the hardest times in life. It gets us through the best times in life. It gets us through the most personal, secret times in life. And when
Mm-hmm.
there was this awakening in music with, Frank and Sid and all of these people who were now openly singing and using the pronouns. And it wasn't just, I didn't have to change it in the shower, because there's many, many songs, right? That in the shower when
That's
I'm
so
singing, I
valid.
put in the,
When I was singing a
yeah,
Neo song, I'd say you know what I'm saying? It's like
yeah.
you change the pronouns so that they fit your sexuality or whatever, but then you like realize like, damn it, wait, I'm gay too. Like I could just say she. It's fine.
How do you think deciding to live your truth has impacted one way or the other your career? I'm sure that there has been both positive and negative about deciding to live openly in your truth. Can you talk to us a little bit about both sides, the positive impact and the negative impact?
Well, I think the positive impact is that by being myself, I attract people who are themselves as fans. And, you know, I've been able to grow a really beautiful community of people who support me and appreciate the art that I make because I am myself and who I truly am. I also feel like I've had a lot of, you know, younger queer folks come up to me at meet and greets or on the street if they see me and just be like, you know, because of you, I live my truth. Because of you, I understand myself more because of how brave you are and unapologetic you are, you know? And I think that for me is a huge part of why I even do what I do as an artist, is to help other people feel seen too. It's a byproduct of creating from your heart, you know, is for other people to resonate with your human experience. And so, you know, I feel like being my most authentic self allows me to create from an even more authentic place and express myself more authentically and not be so afraid of how it's perceived or what people think about it, you know? So I've been able to free myself even from just the social constructs and confines of life in a lot of ways by being my true self, and not allowing, you know, the noise or the lack of support from certain communities to interfere with how beautiful of an experience it is to really truly be yourself in front of the world, you know? Obviously from a negative standpoint, I would only say like sometimes I just get pigeonholed into like, oh, you're the queer person, you know? And opportunities tend to like revolve around that. But you know, it is what it is. It's also America and I'm also Latina, and the community is still a little you know, taboo to talk about queerness and to be queer. But I got really blessed with
I'm
a
not a
family who
Latina,
truly,
I'm not
but it's
Latino, but I
serious.
definitely identify with that because it's just as taboo in
Yes,
the Black community, right? And so I feel like there
exactly.
are many times when I am too Black for the mainstream queer spaces,
Yeah.
right? And you may feel too
Mm-hmm.
Latina for the mainstream queer spaces. And then I feel
Mm.
um, too queer for the Black spaces, right? Like, but I can't separate who I am, right? And we talk about it
Yeah.
as intersectionality, but I really look at it as indivisibility, because I can't really divide who I
Separate from
am.
anything.
I am all of those things at once, right? And
Exactly. I call people
there's
like
no
us
right
bridges.
answer of right, exactly. There's no right answer for me if I'm a Black queer or a queer Black. Like, I
That's who
don't
you
know.
are.
I can't even answer that question.
Right.
I'm both all of the time. So
Exactly.
that definitely resonates with me and the human,
Yeah,
right? And
I
how
think it
you were,
resonates. Sorry, excuse me.
no,
I think
go.
it resonates within a lot of minority communities who are victims of white supremacy. You know what I mean? I feel like that the entire system and construct of white supremacy took indigenous ideals, which queerness was always a part of indigeneity across the board, across countries, and that strict religious monotheistic viewpoint that was indoctrinated and, violently put into people, I think really separated a lot of, indigenous communities and just like minority communities from their truth, and even from their own communities accepting that truth, because everyone is taught to succumb to the ideals that are in these systems that keep people oppressed and keep us from living our true vibrancy and authentic selves. And yeah, I think that is a through line within, all of our communities, within the Latino community, within the Black community, within the
Yes.
queer community.
Yeah.
And all of those intersections always draw back to the fact that we're still all living under very oppressed systems that
Ooh,
cater to that oppression, and
she better come
separation. It
on
caters
today.
to division.
Yes,
Okay, I
she
had
better
things
come
to
on today. We're
say.
gonna have a full-on sermon up in here, church. Okay, yeah. Yes. She better
You
come
give
in
me a
today
platform, I'm gonna
talking that
speak.
talk.
I'm gonna speak.
Ah, I love it. Oh, whew, that got me worked up. That is so very true. And so
Yeah,
again,
the
right?
division is they
Because
need us
you're a
divided. They need us thinking
songwriter,
we're anomalies.
right? Because you're a songwriter and your way with words, the way you just put that together and connected all the dots and gave us the bigger picture, I think that will resonate with many who are watching us. So
Thank you.
thank you again for your brilliance and your genius.
Well,
Um,
thank
we're gonna
you.
switch gears into representation now. That first talk we were having was about community, and so we have two more buckets: representation and then the future. So when it comes to representation, and we, LGBTQIA plus, like you said
IA
earlier, right?
plus. Everybody
It's
but the
all
straights.
everybody but straight. Okay, but there are those within our community that have less support, less representation, right? And specifically talking about the trans community, talking about the non-binary community, talking about and listen, I think more of us are non-binary than we know, because it's such, in
A
back to
spectrum.
your point, right? It's such a spectrum, but we've been so conditioned and programmed for it to be patriarchal, for it to be heteronormative, for it to be, we've been so separated from our own truths that I think more of us are non-binary than we may or may not know. But that's going to be a
Well,
conversation for
yeah,
a different day.
the gender binary is a social construct that was given to us
Yeah,
also by white supremacy.
correct,
Alope
correct.
actually has a bunch of essays and research that they've done on this topic. I highly recommend you go to their page and check it out, because they really break it down. They read the literature for you and break it down
Yeah,
and give you
exactly.
book
Don't you love it
reports
when
so
they
you
do
can
that?
understand.
Don't you love it when they do that? When they do the
I
reading for
love
you and just
it. Thank you
give me
for
the
reading.
yes.
Give me the points. Give me the notes.
Give me the points. Just give me the points. Run them down. But what do you think? What actions do you think the music industry can do to support those who have less visibility and are having a more difficult lived experience? So again, speaking directly to trans and non-binary, to, yes, part of the LGBTQIA plus community, but what can we be doing to better support those members of our community?
I mean, I think across the board in music, investment is the thing that's necessary. Like putting your money where your mouth is if you really want to support these folks. Like, so buy their art, buy their art, support them when they're doing things, and platforming them and allowing them to perform and speak and be their true selves through their art. But I think also overall it wouldn't be terrible to see like a queer category when it comes to awarding people, because I feel like
Love.
if it's queer, I feel like it's inclusive of queerness, which is the spectrum. So that would allow for non-binary folks to be awarded things, that would allow for trans folks to be awarded things, and not be, I don't know. I feel like trans folks are who they are, you know, so they can fall into a binary category sometimes, and sometimes they're also gender nonconforming. It all depends on their personal identity. So,
Oh,
you
and
know,
where they
some trans
are
folks,
and where
exactly.
they
So
are in
some
their
trans
transition,
folks,
right?
exactly. And, you know, so some could be awarded through, you know, the binary that exists. But I feel like creating a space for queerness within an award situation would allow a lot more visibility for queer artists, I believe.
I often do think about, do we need our own queer award? Um,
Yeah, I think that
and
that would
not
be great because
because there
will
aren't
we get rid
enough
of,
queer people, not because there aren't enough queer people winning awards, but because it will create a safe space for those who have not submitted there because of fear, because of lack of representation, because of lack of a safe space, right?
yeah, I see that a lot in like the Oscar space. I've been seeing a lot of conversation just about like having a non-binary category or, but it's like if we degender things, unfortunately, because we live in a patriarchy, I feel like that would also result in less women receiving awards for things. So I think for me, like the solution is more so expanding inclusion than like reverting back to things. You know what I'm saying? Because it'll just end up being what it used to be, which is that barely any women got awards for things and creating, you
Yeah,
know?
well, I will
So I think
say,
if we
yeah, I will
continue
say
to
that
expand,
we've gone to genderless award categories for the Grammy specifically. Um, and we have not seen less women's representation when we took away like best female vocal, right?
I mean, if it works out, it works out. I just
But
I just patterns
music is
wise.
music is much different than TV and film, even though again they
That's
kind of
true.
lump us
Yeah,
together. I think
the rules are more
music,
defined.
the roles are exactly so. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
me
know
neither. To be
how.
fair, I'm not an expert on this stuff. That's just
No.
not like a thought that I had. Want to disclaim that.
How has the response been from your fans and the general public regarding your identity? And have you, I know you said, there's always going to be, the haters. And I say to that, turn your haters into motivators and
It's
thank
a
them later.
motivator.
Turn
Amen.
your haters
I
into
mean,
motivators and thank them
yeah,
later. Because a lot of
yeah.
times
It's
when I've arrived at a place in life, right? I'm always very thankful for the people who supported me the entire time, who held me down. But I'm also, when I'm real about it, thankful for everyone who told me I couldn't do it or I shouldn't be doing it or there's no way that it happened, right? Because had they not been in the other ear telling me I couldn't do it, I may not have stayed as motivated. I may not have stayed as
mm,
determined. I may not have stayed as I got to prove you wrong. So, you know,
I hear
yes,
that. I
I
feel
want to
that.
I want to have this conversation about, have you experienced discrimination and how has the general public been? But I also, want to acknowledge that it's part of your success.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I mean, the fans were like, "Oh my God, finally, you told us." Like, they were,
Right.
they
That sounds
had,
like my sister and my mom. They were like,
they were
okay,
like, "That
and what's
closet
the
was
secret
glass,
again?
baby." They definitely already kind of knew, the majority of them for sure. But you know, as well, it also alienated some people because it's unfortunate, but we live in a world where it's still very stigmatized to be yourself. Like it is still extremely and while we've created a lot more safe spaces for each other and we've created a lot more visibility for ourselves, I believe, as a community, you know, there's still the challenges of the fact that the reality is there are mad conservatives in this country and there are a lot of people around the world. There are countries where we're still would be put to death if we were walking the street in a certain way. You know what I mean? Just for loving out loud, just for love, just for love, literally.
Love, for
That's why.
love.
Yeah, but in a world that criminalizes love, we have to be as brave as we are. You know what I mean? And being unapologetically ourselves and allowing that truth to be. Because it is a truth that is, regardless of how much violence has been um, tapped in order to suppress and erase our existence, you know? And no matter how much
Better,
violence
you
comes
better
into play,
understand. Yes.
yeah, they can't erase us. We keep popping up and we keep
Yes.
growing and we keep showing
And coming
up
back stronger, okay? And I just want
and coming
you
back
to
stronger. It is what it is. And I believe it's a natural phenomenon because this world is sick of humans. This world says, stop procreating. Enough.
correct. Okay. Okay. That again,
No,
see now you want to get real deep. You want to get real
I'm
deep.
kidding. No, it's a
We are
joke, but
very happy for
you
all the
know,
procreators. We are very happy for
yes.
them.
No, we
I
love the
love
procreators.
them.
We do. We
Exactly.
do.
We
I'm just,
wouldn't
that
be
was more
here
so,
without them. Right.
yeah, that was a joke. That was a joke.
Oh
I'm
no,
just saying, like,
I know that it was I get it.
gotta
I know that it was
clarify.
a
Gotta
joke. Oh
clarify.
yes. It was everyone out there before you send in your emails and post your
Please
comments.
no.
That was a joke. We were
I will
joking.
also be procreating. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But
Past my age, but yes. But I am all here for the procreators.
yeah,
But
we're just
I do want to recognize that you are a divine vessel, okay? And the fact that you open yourself up to the
thank you.
universe, the way that you open yourself up to the universe, that the information comes in you and through you in such a unique way that
Thank you.
resonates with so many people. I just want to say, because I know it's not easy. I know, like, yes, there are lots of highs and lots of great moments, but people don't necessarily really understand the grind of what it is for you to be you. And so I do want to just take this moment to say thank you, right? And to for being
Thank
who
you.
you are and for allowing the universe to come through you the way that you do, because there is the divine knowledge and wisdom that you have that you have to be open to the universe to receive it, and then to stay open to be able to give it back to us in digestible nuggets that we understand. I think it's truly, truly a gift, whether it's in
Thank
this
you.
conversation or in the next song that you write. So I just want to personally thank you for your contribution to the world and for your significance and all that we're doing in this fight.
Thank you. That is truly, honestly, thank you so much for those words. That really means a lot to me because that is my mission and that is how I've always felt about the way that I communicate and speak. So I really genuinely appreciate that acknowledgement and for you seeing that in me because it is God. It is God, the universe
It is
speaking through me.
nothing but God. Okay. I just
Yeah,
want to
it's not
be like
me.
very clear, right? And just be, they always, you know, want to lump us together, this LGBT, because the church is anti-LGBTQIA, they automatically assume that those of us in the community are anti-God. And we are probably
We're the most connected to
as
spirit.
close as you can get, clinging
We're
on,
as close
holding
as you
on,
can
knowing
get
that God
because
is
we're
all
out
we
here
have.
being ourselves. We're out here
Correct.
embodying what we were created to be instead of
Correct.
pretending and hiding and using violence to make people hate themselves in the name of
Mm.
God. God would never, ever allow
Ever,
us to hate
ever,
our
ever.
neighbor. That doesn't make sense. It's not biblically speaking, that doesn't make sense.
Doesn't even make sense. Oof.
That's
Who
not even
knew?
what the
Who
scripture
knew,
says.
Lauren, that we
So
was gonna have church today? Who knew we were gonna have church?
I believe that this kind of a lot of the violence that we see and a lot of the disconnection that we see is because of people feeling disconnected from spirit and God
Yeah,
and feeling like God isn't for
absolutely.
them and that God doesn't love them and that they, that they're separate from the oneness that is
And
regardless of what
if I were separated from that oneness as well, I could only imagine, right, how I would try to
how
fill that void
painful
or how painful it
how
would be and hurt
painful
people. Yes. Ooh. Hmm. Well,
absolutely.
I mean, I don't even know. I don't even really know. I think like that summed it up seriously
Yeah.
for everyone. I think that we just got down to the importance of it, our role in it. I am an executive and not a singer-songwriter, although catch me in the shower, like I said, and I am, the best
I
singer
can tell you got
ever.
pipes. I know you got pipes. I mentioned
But
Mariah. I was like, ooh.
Yes, you already know. All the way, take me all the way there, take me all the way there. Um, but yes, so I know that I am playing my role as an executive and at the, boardroom table and across, the
Mhm.
organization, our enterprise and in the larger music community. And it
Yes.
has inspired me and reinvigorated me and given me a good boost to have this conversation with you, to know that I am fighting for and advocating for and celebrating and amplifying artists like you. So I just have to say again, another
I'm
personal
gonna
thank
cry.
you, because you make me want to wake up and do this job. And it's these types of conversations that remind me of the
Ryan.
importance. Oh, Lord, I know I'm trying not to cry, but I do want, I think it's important for us to have this moment, because a lot of times, as you said earlier, we get pigeonholed to just be the gay this, the queer this, the lesbian this, the whatever
Yeah.
it is. So much more than that. And our contribution and significance in this world, in this industry, is so much more than that. And so I just want to
So
make
much
sure that
deeper than
I'm
that.
giving you the flowers right now in
I
front of
receive
everybody.
them and
Uh,
appreciate them
yeah.
deeply. You're
Thank
so
you.
sweet,
I
and I'm just so grateful that you see that and that you honor that and that you platform it. Like, I thank you for your
yeah,
work in doing that, you know?
there would be no way not to see it. I mean, honestly, the way you are beaming and coming in, it would be hard for anyone not to see it. But I just wanted to say it to you so that you knew that I saw it, because I think sometimes
Thank you,
that's the
lovely.
most important. Uh, how do you think the Latin Recording Academy can support efforts for diversity, equity, and inclusion in the music industry? And this takes me back. I finally remembered the second thing. You said it's about investment. And I truly think that, right? I
Mhm.
wish that the name of my department was community investment, social impact,
Mm.
community engagement, and to speak to the work that I'm actually doing, which is investing in communities, investing in culture, and not diversity, equity, and inclusion. Because I feel like that now seems very clinical, like affirmative action. It just seems like it has
Yeah.
now become like, okay, DEI, here we go again, right? And so
Yeah.
I know, right? I know that it's more than that. But again, I think that DEI also gets pigeonholed into being like the police. Up, the DEI police are here. They're going to come tell us what we can do and what we can't do. And so I look at it as community investment. That really resonated with me when you said that earlier. But how do you think the Latin Recording Academy can continue to support these efforts, social impact, community engagement, community investment?
Yeah, I just think including us in the conversation and when it comes to acknowledging our work in the industry, when it comes to platforming us, allowing us to perform in these spaces, allowing us to be visible in these spaces, I think it's super important. I think that we have a long way to go as a Latin community. I think in honoring and allowing queer folks in the spaces that are created. Allowing queerness in such a way where it's not specifically tailored to the male gaze. I think that especially in that community, I feel like Benito, shout out to Bad Bunny, he is a huge pioneer in the space, being a man and a Latino man and being openly queer and on a spectrum.
All of the traditions
he
and
has he has broken so many barriers by being himself and allowed so many more people in our community to just be like, oh wait, shit, I can wear a skirt, or I can
okay,
kiss a boy, or I
if you
can
don't think that I'm figuring out how I'm going to wear my midnight blue pleated skirt to some red carpet
you
because
know
of
what
Bad
I mean.
Bunny, yes.
Exactly. I feel like what he's doing, and I think Snow's impact is really huge too. Snow the product, as an independent artist, she's been impacting so hardcore because she's so committed to her craft and she's so committed to who she is, you know?
Yeah.
Both of them are incredible representations of that to me. So just, obviously Bad Bunny has one of the biggest platforms in the world, but he worked for that and he did it being himself unapologetically. So just allowing more space for that and allowing more exploration of that, again, especially for women, not necessarily just through the lens of sexualizing it for men, but allowing us to be in our queerness as it is authentic to us, which is women loving women, or
And when we talk about,
any iteration of
again, when we
such.
talk about spectrum, we have to recognize that everybody has a little queer in them.
We get controversial on these.
That
I
know,
agree,
I have found
100%.
that homophobia really means scared of yourself and scared of
A lot of the time.
addressing or reconciling whatever little bit or lot of bit of queerness exists within you. Because if you could love yourself however you are, it is very easy to love everybody else however they are.
Absolutely. And even if and that goes even beyond sexuality. I feel like some people aren't themselves, even if they do fall into a heteronormative landscape, let's say, and they're still homophobic and they don't have any queerness in them. I still think it has to do with them not being their full authentic selves, even if that has nothing to do with their sexuality. There's other ways in which they're limiting themselves because of society.
Queer also isn't synonymous with gay, right? Like queerness comes,
exactly.
Queer. When I say queer, I just mean the full spectrum, and I mean you could be completely heterosexual and still have a tinge of queerness in you. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, I think.
And I know a few. I know a few.
I don't know. We're getting way deep. They're probably like, okay, this is not where we expected this conversation to go. Let me try to bring it back on around. When I dream of the future of the music industry, when I was a young boy, I dreamed about there being artists like yourself, like Sid, like Bad Bunny, right? Who could be their authentic selves, right? And so for me, it is so amazing to see that dream come to reality where there is more queer representation. How do you envision the future of music?
Yeah, I see the same thing. I just see more people authentically being themselves and not being told by labels what version of them is sellable. And really just artists being invested in authentically for who they are, and people trying to make that work instead and that sell.
Absolutely. Okay, and we'll wrap it up with this. What advice or words of encouragement do you have for some young LGBTQ artist who's watching us now, having this conversation, and is discouraged, feels alone right now in this industry? What words of advice or words of encouragement would you have for this person?
I would just say to ground yourself in your truth and allow that to be your guide always. Don't compromise for anyone, and don't sell yourself out in order to get anywhere, because like I said, even if you don't believe in God, the universe put you here exactly as you are for you to make the impact that you need to make as yourself. And if you water that down and tailor that to other people and their expectations of you, you're never going to be able to give the message that you already know you're supposed to be giving to the world. So just ground yourself in that truth, block out the noise, and keep going. Don't let anybody tell you to stop. Don't ever stop. Keep going.
Amen. And I would say the reason why I do this work is we can't be who we can't see. And so take a look here. You see an openly gay executive at the Recording Academy. You see an openly queer Latina making it happen. And see us because we see you, and and we're here, and the community is deep and the community is wide, and we will always be here to support you. So thank you
Mhm.
again, Lauren,
Thank you,
for
Ryan.
joining
This
me
was such a
today.
beautiful conversation.
Agreed, agreed. And I look forward to meeting you in person one day and giving you a big hug.
Yes, I can't wait to give you a hug.
I would like to thank the Latin Recording Academy for providing us with this space to have this conversation among ourselves. It has been a pleasure talking with you, Lauren. Thank you to everyone watching. See you next time.